Welcome to Face the State. I'm Ariana Bennett. Thank you for joining us. Last year, United States citizens reported the highest amount of credit card debt in the country's history. On top of that, students graduating from college in 2014 carried the highest amount of student loan debt ever. Now, some blame the state of the economy or rising tuition, but others say it's a lack of financial knowledge that gets people in so deep. Tim Duvall and Brian Allman with the Hyatt Group are here now to talk about helping this situation here locally. Thank you both so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Now, the Hyatt Group is a relatively new organization here locally. Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about what it is, what it does?
Okay. The Hyatt Group is an economic education group. It was formed originally in 2010, and it evolved into now a 501c3 educational program. And so it really promotes free market economics and advancement of the local economy. And that's our key focus. And our current focus is how do we do that on a grassroots basis, starting with our most vulnerable, and those are our young people getting through the high school system and getting ready to go out into the real world.
So who are your members? What kind of people have joined in?
Well, we've got everybody in the local community who's excited about learning more about economics as a whole, how certain developments in the economy are impacting their personal lives, whether they're business owners or just everyday Americans. And so it originally started as a monthly get-together just to hear from some of our local business owners. And from there, it has since evolved to where we are now, which is focusing on the financial literacy program in high schools. And so now our membership has grown significantly to just anybody who's looking to help. And we found a lot of support from people locally who went through the high school system and find that we just maybe need a little bit more on the financial literacy side. So it's grown drastically here recently.
Correct.
How well versed would you say the average Nevadan is about the economy and financial matters?
Well, I'll tell you, as a financial advisor, I see it almost on a daily basis. Most understand how to balance a checkbook, how to spend money, but they're not necessarily well versed on how to utilize a budget and be very disciplined about that. A lot of times I'll find that people get caught up in credit card debt. They find themselves paying minimum balance, minimum payments, and really find themselves enslaved to those interest payments as well. And so quite often we're finding that they didn't have any education in high school on this. They just learned from the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
And that's, just 8 years ago graduating from high school here, I had to learn the same way. So
yeah, absolutely. I heard about this and thought, that's such a great idea. I really could have used that when I was in high school here in Washoe County when that didn't exist. That was a while back, and I know it's changed since then. Washoe County does now have a program for high school seniors. It's part of their government class. Why is that not enough?
I think when you hit on it, it's at the end of your school year, right? It's your pretty much in the last 3 to 4 weeks of your senior year in high school. I don't know about you two young people, but when I was a senior in high school, especially the last 3 weeks, that really finances weren't on my mind at that time. And so it's just a cursory overview. And we're talking a lot more today, just as you said, what is the average literacy of a young person coming out of high school in finance? It's very low. And not surprisingly, it's no different in Nevada than it is in California, that it is in New York, that it is across the country. But that's where you need to make a change. And I think this is a great place to impact a lasting change for our community, is starting with young people, teaching them not only budgeting, not only banking or the value of money, but investing and building for their future, but planning for their education or their careers. Might be technical education. So it's important to get those foundations put in place at a younger age.
And to that point, the non-technical term is senioritis, right? You want to get out of high school, get a job, and run into college and have a good time. And by then, you may have already had a job or two, and by then you may actually be establishing your financial habits, good or bad. And so that's what's so important about this program, addressing it not in the senior year when they're disinterested, but actually in the freshman year, while they're still under the security and cover of their families and maybe just before they get their first job.
Okay,
so a big improvement.
So how would it work? The curriculum starts early and then does it continue all through 4 years, or is it 1 year? How does it work?
Right, the curriculum that we're looking at is a fully developed semester program. So it's completely accredited semester program. It's actually accredited in all 50 states. It also meets Common Core standards, so it's ready to go into any high school that wants to receive the curriculum. And the way it works is the student gets to go out of the course with a workbook, and it's quite substantial. I mean, we're talking, for most people, if you could go through a financial workbook of this magnitude and understand it. And I was pleased I took the test and I passed it, so I was happy about that. I took that risk, that's right. I took the risk and said, okay, I'll take the test. And the way it works is, so they build this foundation, and what's been shown is they get to take the book with them. And they use that later on. It's a great reference. Also, they're going to take these experiences home with them, and what impact that can have on the family. So I think that's the key. By starting at this group of young people and at this age, we're not only going to impact the young people, we're going to impact their families, and we're going to impact the whole community in northern Nevada. That's our goal.
Now, what's it going to take to get this into high schools? Is it money? Is it getting the okay from the school board, all of the above?
Yeah, pretty much all of the above. We've already met with the director of curriculum, Kinder Fox at WashU, and got a very good reception on the program. They were very pleased with the way the program was developed. And so we have while we were striving to put it in the senior year in maybe 10 schools, she had a very good idea. She wants to put in the freshman year for everyone as an elective. So it's going to take a little bit more money. Our objective is to fund all the materials. And by making it an elective course, that will allow us to have a funded teacher from the school. So I think it's a combination. It really is a partnership, community partnership we're trying to build, right, Brian?
Exactly, and to your point of how does this really work on in a school year, it would be a 6-month program. And we were fortunate enough to get a very positive meeting with the director of the curriculum. And rather than trying to do a 10-week program, they wanted to do it for a full 6 months. And so that was helpful, but it wouldn't necessarily be an ongoing program throughout the 4 years. Right. Ideally, our goal is to fund the entire Washoe County School District, which is a very large school district, and then beyond that, bring it throughout the state of Nevada. And one of the sad parts about this program is, although it's been well vetted, Nevada is the only state that has not adopted this program in any school. And so our goal was to be that state that finally brought it to the high schools. So it's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad to say that we've gotten good feedback from the district. Now we just need the funding, and that's been our primary goal.
Yeah, speaking of the fundraising, I think I checked your website. You're looking for $65,000. You're at $5,600 so far. So you guys have a way to go.
We have a way to go, but we held a key event, our first golf tournament and dinner, and right now we're looking at that we may have raised another $25,000.
Hey.
In a nice event with a great group of community people. But you're right, that's not enough. And so we have a nice program. We feel that I'm a business owner here in Sparks, and we've stepped up and became an educational ambassador, so we've put in a nice sum for that. We're looking for larger businesses to come in and match some of the smaller businesses and their donations. And then we're looking at what we call a legacy fund, and that's parents and grandparents who can make a big difference with just $25. You think about 100 parents or a grandparent combination funds an entire classroom for the year. So it's a very doable project.
On the grander scale, what do you hope to accomplish with a program like this, ideally?
Well, and I think that's where I really had a lot of buy-in with the program. It's not necessarily so that we get our high school freshman students into an excellent program. It's that they carry those habits on throughout their life. That economic impact that it could have on the community is tremendous. And what the social studies and investigations have found is a lot of those financial habits come from their parenting and from the lifestyle that they lived and watched their parents go through. So if we can get this next generation educated and begin those habits, they're going to pass that on naturally to their own kids. So ideally, we would get to a point where this program is sustainable and we're not hunting for our next donor on a monthly basis, but get that also to a point where it's generationally sustainable. And I think Being born and raised in this area, that's what drew me the most to being on this board. Is this is going to have a tremendous impact if we can get this accomplished for years and generations to come. So, big goals, big funding needs, a lot of big efforts coming from our end too. So
Right.
it's been fun.
And I'm relatively new to the area. I moved into the area. I brought my business into the Reno Sparks area in 2013. And I've enjoyed every minute of it. I think it's a great community, great group of people, and that's what I want to add in. I'm trying to add my talents to say, hey, look, this is pure grassroots too, isn't it? We're not a big organization 3,000 miles away asking you to give some money. Every dollar we raise is going to go to our program, and that's the beauty of it. And some of the things that are taught in the program we're going to do in this fundraising over time, and that's invest fundraising dollars to provide for the future.
Okay.
So it's going to be a growing program.
All right. For those who would like to help you, real quick, where can they, get more information, and how can they help?
So the easiest way is through our website. It's hyackgroup.org. So it's HAYEK group.org. There you can participate in our monthly events. We host a dinner once a month. You can become involved as a volunteer, or you can donate money directly. Our top tier donation at this point would sponsor an entire school for the program for 1 year. And so this would be our call to action, not only for parents and grandparents, but local business owners who could do more and go above and beyond that.
Okay.
And that's what we're looking for.
All right. We are out of time, but thank you both so much for your
good.
time. I really do appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Very
Thank
great.
you.
We will post your information on our website as well, ktvn.com.
Okay.
Well, coming up on Face the State, it is time to sign up for insurance through the Affordable Health Care Act, but that can be a confusing process. What you need to know to get started and why you really don't want to be paying the penalty this year. That's right after the break.